everyone. Dearest listeners, book babes, and book bros, welcome to Book Babble. I'm your host, Tanya from the Witlet Women, and I have two special guests for you today. The first is my co-host, Morgan,
Hello, everybody. Excited to be here again.
back again for round two. And then we have Mika here to help with to go through Book Babble. Mika, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Mika. I don't know what else to say, so.
Do you want to tell us kind of about some of your books or some of the projects you're working on?
Yeah, sure. I'm working on a baseball romance series right now, and so that's been my main focus for like the last year and a half. And I plan on like going outside of sports romance, but I like being in sports romance right now, so I just love writing it at the moment.
Well, we're excited to have you on. Are you ready to babble?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I'll put 5 minutes on the clock and then we can get started.
Okay.
Morgan.
Oh, my bad. All right. How did you know that you wanted to write sports romance?
Honestly, sports romance was a big change for me because I only grew up with sports. I didn't really watch sports as a teenager or like young adult, like a growing adult, you know. Um, but I always loved basketball and I grew up with baseball, so those were my two main sports. And then I read Maren Moore's Home Run Proposal, and I was like, this is exactly the kind of thing that does not have a huge niche for in baseball romance. And I was like, I want to write pro baseball though. So, because she writes college baseball. So I was like, I want to write pro. And I just kind of went from there.
Yeah, I have not seen that many baseball romances out there, so it's a
Mhm.
great kind of like subgenre to get into.
Yeah.
So, what is the most unexpected reader feedback that you've gotten on any of your books thus far?
I think, well, it's kind of like the funniest when I think about it because I wrote Heartbreaks and Home Runs last September. And when I sent out the arcs, the one comment I got the most was, why isn't the side character in the story more? And I was like,
Mm.
for one, he's getting his own book. So I didn't want to give too much information at the time. But also, I was like that's not he's not the main plot point. So it was just like I realized that that's what people want to see. They wanted to like see more from the side characters, so that's when I was like, okay, maybe I have to give them a little bit more when it comes to that.
Yeah, it sounds like they really loved him and they
Yeah.
want to see him more.
Can you tell us which side character this was they were asking about?
Right.
It's the current book that I'm writing. It's Dreams and Dugouts.
Okay,
So
Ooh,
yeah, great story.
we'll check
very
it out.
nice. Yeah. All right. So, which character do you personally connect and identify with the most?
Ooh, this one was really hard. I think it would be between like two characters of mine. Um, it would be like Amelia from Heartbreaks and Home Runs, but also um Kaylee from Fastballs and Flirts. They both like have personalities that I kind of attribute to a lot. And so,
Mhm.
but besides that, I have to say this for anyone that's read my books, I do not have their tragic backstories.
Oh,
That's a good point to clarify.
Yes.
right. The personality without the trauma.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, so we're on the topic of characters, and so what was the hardest scene that you have written that you had to cut out because it just wasn't working?
Oh my gosh. There's so many that I could choose from, to be honest. There was one in Fastballs and Flirts that I completely had to cut because it did not pertain to the story at all, but it was the spiciest scene I'd ever written.
Oh
And
no.
I was like,
Oh,
oh, I can't keep this in because it doesn't fit anywhere within the storyline. But it was so spicy. And then I was like, you know what? I'll upload it to my Patreon. And if anybody wants it, they have to subscribe to the Patreon
there
to
you
read it.
That's
go.
a good way to get
Yes,
it out there.
absolutely. Oh, that's awesome. Now I'm gonna have to go find your Patreon just for that scene. All right. And what advice would you give to aspiring writers who want to publish their own book?
Um, don't do it the way that I did.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Would you
I
like to
don't know
expand
how
on
else to say
that?
it because my debut, I got the worst advice for my debut, and they said, like, I had looked on YouTube, and I don't suggest just looking on YouTube for advice because a lot of what I saw was not about marketing at all. It was just about publishing your book and then you can market after. And that was like the worst advice I had ever been given. And I was like, I wish I didn't follow that at all because I had no marketing training at all at that point, and it just flopped. I mean, it still flops. It's called fuck happens is really what it's called. But
Mm.
you know, I typically have to say F happens everywhere because nobody wants to hear about that. But but it was a good story. So
Yes.
it was just, I just did a bad job at marketing and I just published without even doing anything for it. And I don't recommend doing that for anybody trying to publish at least.
Well, that is great advice.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I do want to congratulate you, Mika, because you made it through the 5-minute round of our Ask Me Anything questions. So I will put this on Instagram, and then the full episode's going to go on things like YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, all of those.
Nice.
But we're going to continue chatting for the remainder of our episode. So
Yes.
I was hoping that we could kind of circle back to this YouTube channel that you were talking about and advice. Would you say it was harder to publish or harder to market? Because I'm getting from you that
Mm.
the marketing side was like the worst, not the worst, but the
It
most difficult.
it was, but also publishing wise, everybody just said to go through KDP. And so
Mm.
that was, it's the backside of Amazon for publishing. So
Right,
when I
right.
did that, I didn't really think of anything at the time. And I did that with the first three books that I had. And now I'm learning so much more that, you shouldn't get an Amazon ISBN. You should buy your own ISBNs because then those Amazon ISBNs cannot be used at certain bookstores. They cannot be sold. Like if you go to wide distribution, they can't be sold to indie bookstores and stuff like that. So like you
Mm.
really have to like be careful with the way you do things. And the YouTube that I was watching, like multiple videos from different people all just kind of said the same thing where they were
Mm.
just like just publish through KDP da da da. They didn't give me any of this extra info that I wish I had known.
You know what you should
Gotcha.
do? You should start your own YouTube just to give advice to authors because I'm sure there are plenty that do not know this.
Yeah, there
Ooh.
are so many authors that don't know it, and I was a part of an author group chat on Instagram that I kind of learned it through them. But unfortunately they're very niche, and so I kind of felt left out of the group like multiple times.
Mm.
So after I learned what I had learned from them, I kind of just made a soft exit
Yeah.
because it was just like, okay, like I love you guys, but thank you so much for the advice, but you guys keep leaving me out of like the big stuff. So but
Yeah.
it felt
Yeah.
good to like be able to connect with those authors, even if like we weren't like together on like
Yeah.
certain things. So
Yeah, having that sense of community,
yeah.
especially when you're doing something you've never done before. So
Mhm.
Yes. Yes. It's one of the greatest things about Bookstagram, in my opinion, is the
Awesome.
agreed.
community.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Morgan and I met through Bookstagram, so that would like I
Yes.
would never have met her without it, so I get it.
I've
Yes.
met so many people throughout not just Bookstagram, but just like through the internet altogether. My editor, I met through Tumblr. Um,
What?
Wow.
That's
and
awesome.
we've known each other since like 2010. She lives like an hour away from me. So like we make meetups and stuff and have days where we, have fun.
I love
So
That's
that.
awesome. Yes. Well, if
I
you
Oh,
ever
even have
need help with marketing in the future, I have to say Tanya's amazing.
thank
So
you.
she does character art, she does book
oh
cover
really?
art. So
I
just putting that out
do.
there for
Yeah.
Tanya.
My husband designs all of my book covers.
Oh, that's
What? That's so
amazing.
He
fun.
went to school for he went to graphic design over at one of the big ones down here in Florida. It's in Orlando. I can't
Mhm.
remember the name of it. Full Sail.
Oh yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
I was looking into going to art school back in the day and I got accepted from their sister school. I did
Oh
not
yeah.
because that stuff is expensive.
It is. Yeah, it took him a long time to pay off those student loans, man, because Full Sail
Yeah.
was very expensive.
Oh my, it's like going and getting your degree to be a medical doctor. Like it's expensive.
Yeah, it really
Mm.
is. But, he
Hmm.
designed like he doesn't even do graphic design like working wise now.
Oh,
So like
wow.
I'm
Okay.
making him use it to design
Abs
new covers
yes.
and stuff.
There
Well,
you go.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
good job.
If you guys are
Putting
going to
that
spend
degree to
that much
use.
money on loans, like you got to put it to use.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
that's so
Oh,
cool. Well,
well,
we
that's
do have a
awesome.
few minutes left, Mika. Do you have anything that you wanted to say? Anything you wanted to address with your readers?
Um, I just feel really bad right now just because I had this plan to publish Dreams and Dugouts in May, and I've had a, when you get into the characters' heads, you tend to like take on their personalities, and for me, like I completely like black out and just am the character, and both of these characters have like not traumatic. Well, one of them has like kind of a traumatic backstory, and the other one, he is just like going through it. So, like,
Mm.
it's really hard to write those characters when they're in that mindset. And then it puts me in that mindset, and I almost get into like a depressive state. So, I'm
Yeah.
like, that's my biggest thing to readers is that, I'm sorry for pushing it back, but like, I am trying.
But
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like I speak for every reader that we would rather an author push it back to do their best work than
Yeah.
just put out something
Hmm.
that doesn't feel right.
Right. I agree. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of the readers that I do have like really understand and like put my mental health first kind of thing. And I'm like, it's not my mental health, it's their mental health. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's just, they don't, they're not ready. Like, sometimes, like, I feel like they're not ready to like get their story out kind of
That
thing.
makes
So it's
Yeah.
like, I have to like kind of push the story along and I'm trying not to force it too much, but I'm also like, come on, guys, we got to get this going.
Right.
And I'm like
Right.
in the process of writing like the sixth book too. So I'm like, let's just get it done.
I love that take on it because even though these characters aren't physically there and present in the real world, they are like their own personalities, their own people, and
Yeah.
you're giving a
Hmm.
voice to them. Like I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It really is. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it because they truly feel like real to me.
Yeah.
And like
Absolutely.
the
Yes.
more I wrote like my second book, Coffee and Curveballs, it was just like I felt like I was best friends with them, like I knew them, like and it's weird to say because like I wrote them, they're my characters, but they're like my babies and they're like people to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, they are pieces of you.
exactly.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So we are just about at time, Mika, and I appreciate you coming on to join us. And also thank you,
Of
Morgan, for
course.
co-hosting with me again.
Of
Um,
course.
and I hope that we get you back on in the future, Mika.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank
one.
You
you.
too. Bye.
Bye.